Hey, aloha everybody. My name is Pat Spencer from Epic Ohana. And you may know that June is National Reunification Month, and across the country celebrations have been taking place to honor successful family reunifications. And thank you for joining in on our celebration today. Well, throughout this webinar, we want to tell you that we will be sharing pre-recorded videos of birth parents, former foster youth, a judge, and service providers. And the transmission quality over Zoom may vary with you, the viewers, and you may need to adjust your volume from time to time so you can still hear the families and providers' powerful voices of experience and hope. So to begin and to honor and welcome our own Hawaii Reunification Champions, resource caregivers, here are April Lum and Judge Jesse Hall. Welcome.
Aloha! My name is April Lum, and I'm the Director of Programs at Family Programs Hawaii. We have had the honor of partnering with the Department of Human Services to provide support services for Hawaii's resource caregivers since 2006 through trainings, support groups, and the Warm Line. On behalf of our organization, we just wanted to recognize and support the work of all resource caregivers as they care for Hawaii's keiki and ultimately partner with these children's families to support reunification. As a resource caregiver myself, I know it is not always comfortable or convenient, but it is always worth it. So today, we honor and celebrate with all of you for June's National Reunification Month. Mahalo for all of the work that you do.
Welcome to National Reunification Month celebration. I am Judge Jesse Hall, Juvenile Judge of the Family Court here in the First Circuit on the island of Oahu. For the children that are in foster care, there is no relationship that can have more of a positive impact than the one between the parent and the resource caregiver. The resource caregiver is in a unique position to act as the crane used to rebuild the bridge between parent and child. The resource caregiver is not only a support and safety net for the child, but also can provide reassurance and support to the parent during reunification. We ask a lot of our resource caregivers, and to them I want to say thank you for all you do.
Well, and thank you, April and Judge Hall. And now I want to share a message from former foster youth Melissa Mayo and her perspective on reunification.
Aloha, my name is Melissa Mayo and I'm a former foster youth. For me, my resource caregiver means the world to me. His name's Joel Kano and you'll be hearing from him today. What was so important that he did for me is he made sure that I had a relationship with my mom. I think oftentimes when we think about reunification, we think of young people getting to go live back with their parents, which is a great thing. But for me, in my situation, it was a little different. Even though I didn't get to go live back with my mom, it was still important to me and my resource caregiver that I had a relationship with my mom. And I'm just so thankful for the resource caregivers to continue to do that every day, to make sure that their young people still have that connection with their biological parents.
So I want to thank Melissa for her sharing her powerful and heartfelt perspective. So today we're going to have a panel discussion with 4 resource caregivers who will talk about their experiences of facilitating reunifications of all types through their getting to know the birth parents and collaborating with them. So Wilma Friesema from EPIC will be the moderator, and interspersed during the discussion will be video clips from birth parents, former foster youth, Judge Hall, social workers, and a final mahalo from Child Welfare Services Administrator, Eladine Olival. Well, we have a lot of ground to cover in just an hour, so there's not going to be a lot of time for questions and answers. But if you have questions, we welcome emails, and we will post an address you can write to at the end of the webinar, and we will respond as quickly as we can. And also, if you are a resource caregiver, you will be receiving a certification for 1 hour of training that will be mailed to you. So, and with that, I want to thank you again for being here and for the work that you do. And now I'll pass it on to Wilma. Aloha.
Thank you, Pat. And thanks to April and Judge Hall for the welcoming, and Melissa for her touching words about how important it was to reconnect with her mother. I too want to thank everybody for being here today. I'm so excited that today we're going to be honoring who I think are often the unsung heroes in the field of work we do, which are the resource caregivers. You put so much heart and you open your hearts and your homes to the children, but also to the families. So the work you do is really incredible. So we are going to hear from a panel of 4 resource caregivers who I would like to invite to come on board. If you can turn on your videos. That's great. Okay. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here as resource caregivers. I know you're very busy and lead very full lives, so I appreciate the time you've taken to do this. To start out, if you could just say your name, where you live and how long you've been a resource caregiver. Lori, do you want to start?
Aloha, my name is Laurie Himalaya. I live in Kailua Kona, and I've been a resource caregiver since 2001.
Great, thank you. Okay, Audrey.
Hi, I'm Audrey Putz. I have been a resource caregiver for about 2.5 years, and I live in Honolulu.
Great, thank you. And Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe O'Connell. I live in Hilo, and I've been a resource caregiver for 6 years.
Okay, and Jasmine.
Aloha, my name is Jasmine Sadamitsu. I live on Kauai, and I've been an RCG since 2017.
Great, thank you. And so before we get into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to collaborate with parents, I am wondering if you can share why you make that effort. Why is it important to get to know the birth parents, and how does it make a difference? So, Jasmine, can we start with you? Why do you do this? Can you unmute there?
Yeah, I think it's important for the biological parents to know where their children are and that they're safe, and hopefully to make to reach out and do the connection in the beginning. They'll know that I'm just here for support.
Thank you. And how about you, Lori? Why do you do this? Reach out to parents?
For the same thing. It's building the trust to have them and let them know that their child is safe.
Yeah, that can make such a difference, yeah? When the parents know that the children are safe.
Yes.
Yeah. And how about for you, Joe? What's your motivation?
For me, I just really feel it's the genuine right thing to do. These are their kids. They deserve to know whose house they're in, who's raising them. And I think I want the kids to see that I'm in partnership with the parents. This isn't good guy and bad guy. This is, we're all on the same team.
Lovely. Lovely. And how about you, Audrey?
For us, my husband and I, we wholeheartedly supported reunification as long as it continues to be part of the plans. We felt that building a relationship while also providing support for the birth family was necessary as part of the reunification process. And we also hope that by building that relationship, that would allow us to continue to be in that child's life after reunification.
So it's for the immediate time, but also, you get attached to the children too. And so it's a way that you can keep them in your lives and stay in touch.
Exactly.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely. So for all of you, it sounds like it's really a plus to actually reach out to the parents and get to know them. Like, it's helpful for the kids, it's helpful for you, and it's certainly helpful for the parents. So we're going to break away now. We're going to take a few minutes to hear from some birth parents, youth, and a social worker about how it has impacted them. So we'll hear it from their voices too. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to share a little bit about how much a resource caregiver and my relationship with them meant to me. To be honest with you, it's probably the most important relationship I have today in my life. She's really my everything, and I struggled with my child being taken from me, and to be honest, the only thing I look at now is that God put her in my life for a reason, and that my baby got taken for a reason to put her in our lives, and I'm really blessed, and I'm so grateful for that. It made the whole experience much, much different for me.
Yeah, well, the caregivers made a big impact on my sobriety because it encouraged me to do all I had to do to to maintain my sobriety on me, you know, because the main part of that was that when I met my caregivers and I knew they were good people and I knew they were going to take care of my kids, it freed me up to just focus on me. So I could just totally focus on who I need to be and where I need to be by the time I get reunited with them. And so for the caregivers that I had, that was the biggest plus right there. Because now I'm celebrating 5 years and 7 months. And that was a big factor because I was early in recovery then. It could have went either one way or another.
It made me feel comfortable that I know that they're working together and trying to reach one goal, and made us all feel reassured.
You know, it made me, you know, it drove me to, like, actually comply, you know. 'Cause I had thoughts to be like, just live my own way. But, you know, it made me stay positive throughout that long ago time. It made me stay positive.
It made me feel confident that ultimately we're going to get reunified. Like, I had no doubt in my mind that with them working together, we weren't going to one day end up back as one family. So I felt confident.
It gave me like hope, days to look forward to, Sundays, and like just makes the week even better when you know that one day is coming. And it just made me feel like we were all on the same page. We're all one big happy family about to be reunited.
I don't even know. They took all the stuff. Hope, faith, whatever. Comfortable, reassured. Made me want to do my part in school and all that. To, you know, don't have to be a burden to anybody. Yeah.
Made me feel heartwarming to see them contribute or something.
When the resource caregivers are working with parents in a DHS case, the children tend to have more contact with parents. The resource caregivers are able to support telephone contact, visits, and in turn, the children see that you know, parents know the resource caregivers, and it builds trust. So the children are able to be confident that, hey, this is like an auntie or uncle.
Very touching, yeah. You can really hear how, you know, when resource caregivers and birth parents are in communication, it just eases it for the kids. You know, like even when Charlotte said at the end, oh, they become like an auntie or uncle instead of, you know, this stranger who's taken me in. It's like part of the extended family. So it's really helpful. So in this segment, I want us to talk about what it's actually like to get to know the parents and to work with them. So Joe, how do you first reach out to parents? And what do you do?
When I first reach out to parents, I find some type of neutral place to meet them, hopefully maybe at a supervised visit, at a park, at a court hearing. And then I just introduce myself. I offer to exchange phone numbers, try to build a texting relationship. And kind of just like the last social worker said, is to build that trust. Because when the trust is high, the drama is low. So my goal is to just keep the trust as high as possible and kind of open that door and go with the flow.
Thanks. I love that mantra of yours. When the trust is high, the drama is low. It's a great little clip. So, Audrey, how about you? What kinds of things do you do?
So I try to, share reasons for, why we're doing this, so that it makes them a little bit more comfortable to, respond back to me. And then, just wanting to, make them feel comfortable and let them know who their child is and give them an opportunity to start, kind of put in their court to let them build that trust with them.
Great. So it's actually, from both of you, I get the sense of like you're doing the reaching out at first, yeah? Like putting out your hand and greeting them with that kind of aloha of, I'm here to help. I'm not here to take your kids, right? I'm here to support the kids and you. Lori, is there anything you would want to add to that you do?
Yes, I think a lot of the times what they miss are the special events,
Mhm.
graduation, you know, the main holidays of Thanksgiving, gathering, being together. Um, I usually have it at those times where we come together with the parents, and that's where I get to meet them prior to some of the visits or things like that. They're invited to things like that. And prayers at night, if the child is used to having prayers done with parents, they get back to getting that done again.
Oh, that's lovely. So you'll get them on the phone with their parents and let them pray together at night even, as well as
Yes,
the holidays. It's
yes,
lovely.
because the child feels a little bit more comfortable and they get to go to sleep.
Hmm. Beautiful. And how about you, Jasmine?
In the beginning, I usually do like an introductory text message. I feel that's kind of like a neutral and safe way to kind of do it nowadays. So just an introductory text and kind of leaving the ball in their court for when they feel comfortable to reach back.
Great, great. And Jasmine, I know besides being a resource caregiver, you supervise visits as your job, right? So what do you think helps build trust?
I think consistency, being honest, taking accountability and apologize when the mistake is on your part. I did a visit once on my own as the RCG, and I considered mom a no-show to the visit, but in reality, I told her the wrong time. So it was my fault. I apologized to both of them. She was still upset, but I think she appreciated the fact that I took accountability and apologized to both her and explained to the child.
That's lovely. Because again, it's like everybody gets to be human, yeah? And showing your humanness kind of leaves room for them to be more human too, yeah? What is, Lori, is there anything you would want to add to that? Like, what do you think helps build trust?
I would say it begins with the communication portion. You know, I break the ice with letting them know, okay, this is what we have going on. You know, your child's graduation is coming up. Would you like to join us at the school? You know, I'll meet you at the school and you can watch the graduation, take pictures, and it's things like that that breaks the ice for the trust to start to begin. And then the healing kicks in.
Yeah, that's great. You don't keep them at arm's length. It's like you let them stay in contact and attend those important meetings, those important moments. Yeah.
It only happens once in their lifetime. And to still have their parent, you know, involved in it, I think it makes a big difference.
Mhm.
And it's rewarding to me to see them smile.
Yes. Very good. How about you, Audrey? Is there anything you do to help build that trust?
I really try to rally behind them and support what they're doing on all the work that they're doing and recognize the work that they're doing to get their child back. And just, you know, every time that I see the birth parent, just, you know, letting them know how proud we are and how proud their child is of them so that they know that we're behind them 100%.
Lovely. Lovely. And how about you, Joe? You want to add anything more?
I make sure that I acknowledge the parent as the expert on their child. I double confirm all of the allergies. Sometimes, you know, you don't know if they have the correct allergies, not the correct allergies. I ask them the things I should be aware of, I have to worry about, and try to, you know, honor their expertise on their own children and let them know that I care about what they have to say.
Again, that's lovely. And it helps the parents feel respected too, it sounds like, yeah? Like for who they are in the children's lives and that they do know their children. So that's really important to convey that to them, yeah? Audrey, are there things that you watch for to ensure your safety and the safety of the children before you meet with parents?
Yes, so when the child is first placed with us, I make sure I get as much information from the social worker about kind of the interactions they've had with the birth parent, what brought the child into care. and just to see if there's any red flags as far as like personal safety that I need to be aware of when it comes to visits. And then if needed, doing, supervised visits, with a social worker involved until I feel more comfortable, or just making sure when we do visits without social work involved that it's in public, and typically at first definitely outside of my neighborhood to kind of give me a little bit more cushion with that safety as we continue to build that relationship and rapport.
Great. So, you just get really clear about what feels comfortable to you. How about you, Joe? Is there anything you do around safety?
Well, I would say all the time in meeting with bio parents, there's nothing that's happened that I would characterize as unsafe. But sometimes you meet parents who maybe aren't in a place where they're ready to build that relationship, or they're ready to see you as somebody on their same team. So when I recognize that they're not in that space, I honor that and just leave the door open. And when I do feel that they're on the same space and we're on the same page, then it's a wide open invitation. I'm happy to have them come to my house and join in celebrations and just kind of do each other as extended family at that point.
Great. And Lori, is there anything you do in particular around safety, or?
A lot of the times I find out what brought them into care, and I try and see if it's comfortable enough for the child. And if it is, then we start to have like a day at the beach. And a lot of the times their dads end up cooking. They got the barbecue going, the kids are smiling, they're all at the beach with everybody else. And it kind of relaxes them to know that their dad's cooking, mom's setting up the table. It's like I'm the person that was invited to the gathering. So it's all about their safety and whether they feel comfortable. And most of the time it has been. It's been really good.
Lovely. And Jasmine, do you want to add anything to this too?
Yeah, I usually try to ease into it. I usually start with like dropping off and picking up from the supervised visits, just so parents and I can see each other, and then move into supervising on my own. But I do supervised visits out in public areas so that everyone is safe.
Good. Seems like really practical, clear tips of what to do to ensure your safety. And Lori, can you give an example of a challenge you have faced with parents and how you dealt with it?
The parents weren't getting along and the children were brought to me. So I had a gathering and I invited both parents, and everything went fine until it got into a little bit of a discrepancy between both parents. They weren't getting along. So I ended the gathering and it stopped from that point on. But prior to that, they were told about their boundaries, which to me does mean a lot to me, because when I set the boundaries, that is something that they just need to go ahead and get done. And if it doesn't work that time, then we'll try it again at another time.
That's great. It sounds like you were really clear, like you called them, you told them what the boundaries were, and then you stuck to those boundaries when they crossed them. And it seems like that's a really important component of safety, but also it's really good modeling for the parents too, yeah?
Yes, because it lets them know that, your child does not want to be back in that situation that brought them to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you need to try and do what you need to do to get it done. And then we'll work together. If you get it done, then we'll try it again at another gathering.
Right.
So the line stays open between both parties.
That's great. It's lovely. So again, we're going to break away to take a few minutes to hear from Judge Hall and our birth parents about what those first meetings are like and the difference they do make for the parents. Okay, so we're going to break away for a minute.
Parents are more likely to succeed when they know the resource caregiver is also part of their support system and wants reunification to be successful. The more people reassuring a parent that with hard work they can reach reunification, the more likely they are to believe it and reach their goal.
But for me, it was a make or break deal with the meeting the caregivers and seeing who they were and how they were going to receive me and stuff like that, because I had a past, and I felt at that time that I'd be judged on my past. So it was kind of hard for me at first. I was anxious. I wanted to see my kids, but dealing with them, I was thinking, all kind of things that go through my head, like, will they like me? Will they this and that? How they receive me, and am I acting the right way and stuff like all those type of anxieties was going through my head at night. But over time, you're showing up. I just kept showing up and kept showing up. But it's crucial though, because at a time you could be like, am I, doing the right things and this and that. It could be discouraging if you're not welcomed in. If you're not welcomed in, it could be real discouraging. That could be a make or break situation for the birth parent.
When Joel came in, it's like I was he was just casual with me. He wasn't like taking my inventory or checking the boxes, like an official visit. It was just a casual, sit down and chit chat and have a soda kind of thing. It was like, wow, it was awesome that somebody could actually treat us like a human. Initially when I became homeless, it was really difficult for me because I worked in the community and I paid my taxes, and circumstances, I became homeless, and people would just, walk across the street, and I would wonder, what the hell, that kind. It's like, I'm just a human too,
So the first time I met my resource caregiver actually was at the hospital. I don't know that they usually do this, but I was allowed to meet the person that actually physically took the baby and put them in the car, and I was actually able to meet them at the hospital. So I was allowed to sit there in the waiting room waiting for my baby to get checked in, and that's when I met my resource caregiver. And I'll tell you, it really honestly made a huge difference for me, because at that point, everybody's the enemy in the picture. Everybody involved, the driver to the person, everybody is taking my baby from me, and it's just how it feels. And she came in and sat next to me, and just her voice was just very, very sweet and very loving and very sincere, and she just kept assuring me that she's not here to take my child from me. She just happens to be the person where my baby is going to be cared for just until I get her back. And it really made a huge difference, because when it was time to get her checked in, I was very uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable situation for me. And when it came time for me to say bye to my own baby, I didn't feel comfortable doing it in any other way but to put her into Andrea's arms. And that for me was very comforting, because I didn't want to give her up. And so I was actually thankful I had her there to put my baby into her arms. I'm very grateful she's still in my life today.
Again, so moving to hear, the fear and vulnerability of the parents, and how it eased their fears to meet the resource caregivers. It just seems to make such a difference when you become real people to each other. Yeah. Like, you're not the enemy. Like Sam was saying, everybody was the enemy, right? But when she got to meet Andrea, and Andrea reassured her, resource caregiver reassured her, it just helped settle something inside of her. And, it seems like when you become real people to each other, that it really helps counter assumptions that can happen on both sides. Yeah. Like you really see that attachment the parent has to their child, even if stuff is going on in their life that is interfering with them being a good enough parent. It doesn't mean they're not attached, right? So in this segment, I really want to look at how you build that ongoing relationship, with the birth parents. What helps create that sense of collaboration. So Jasmine, let's start with you. What do you do to help build that relationship?
The easiest thing I found is parents usually respond to text messages. So it'll start by asking for pictures, videos, that kind of thing. But also to keep the contact, we do, if the kids are in sports, they can come to games, if there's performances, beach days, holidays, things like that.
Lovely. So there's that feeling of inclusion. Yeah. Yeah. Audrey, what do you do?
Similar to, Jasmine, you setting pictures and things like that, and keeping them involved in the day-to-day. But I also, when our foster child was in daycare, would save all of the artwork that they made during that time and gave it over to the parents so that they had those memories throughout, the year, that time that they were not together. Also printing out holiday photos of them as well, so that when they look back at those memories with their child, it feels like they were still there.
Great. Lovely. Lovely. And how about you, Joe? What do you do?
Yeah, kind of what everyone else said. In addition to, I find out when the parents' birthday is, so make sure that the kids can wish their parents happy birthday on their birthdays. When the kids have birthdays, invite the parents over. If we're going out to dinner, invite them out to dinner with us. If we're having a barbecue at the house, invite them up to the barbecue at the house. And then on big holidays, if the children are in a place where they're able to go to their family's house for Thanksgiving, we actually do our Thanksgiving early in the morning so they can celebrate with us and then also go and spend some time with theirs. If their family, and we do this a lot, if the family maybe isn't planning anything for Thanksgiving, we invite them up and be part of ours. Same thing for Christmas. So just to really kind of look at it as a family expansion as opposed to a family division.
Again, it's so moving to hear that you pay attention to those significant times in particular, like the holidays and birthdays, and those are days that stand out, and kids are often, other kids are spending time with their families, so it can feel really awkward and painful for them if they're not with their families. Yeah, so to be mindful of that, it's lovely. And how about you, Lori? What do you do?
We usually have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Thanksgiving is usually held at the beach so that the parents are able to come. They can enjoy with their child, and it kind of gives them the feeling that, okay, nothing has changed. It gives them a sense of how would you say, love for everything that happened, although it didn't happen the way they wanted it to, and their child is not going to come home with them, but at least they understand that we can have more gatherings like this, and those are the days that I think should be memories and should not be stopped. They should carry on as if they were at home, but it'll be a better place when they get there.
Right. Thank you. And Lori, what changes have you seen in the birth parents as your relationship grows with them? How do you see it helping the birth parents?
They let me know about their achievements, their accomplishments, what they have done, and where they want to go from there. And a lot of the times, if they don't have anybody, sometimes what happens is they go to college and they need to have the child watch. They know that their child is safe with me if the child comes while they're in college, and I'll care for the child. And they continue college, they get their diplomas, and that's what the child gets to enjoy with them. Look what mom and dad did. I did this and I got this job, and come look at our car now. We have a car. It's things like that the children, my reward is their smile and their hugs and their kisses from mom and dad. That's my reward.
That's great. I mean, it's so moving. It sounds like with your support and encouragement too, as the parents improve, the kids see this and it makes them feel hopeful and proud, and you can hear the healing of their relationship, through that process. Yep, it's lovely. Lovely. Joe, what changes have you seen in birth parents?
Well, as birth parents, as the case progresses, they oftentimes make progress. And by having that relationship with them, I'm often the first person they call, like, hey, Joel, guess what? We finally get our own car, like Laura was saying. Hey, we finally have my own place, and they're calling to share their successes. Another thing is when they come over to the house, they might notice that their kids are setting the table or washing dishes or eating together. And, hey, how did you get my kids to do that? That kind of stuff. So that we're kind of, they share with me things and I share with them things, and it's really nice.
It's great. So it becomes a learning experience on both sides, right? But yeah, it's great. Jasmine, do you want to add anything to that? Ways that you help grow and maintain that relationship, or?
I think parents, when you have a relationship with the bio parents, they become more comfortable and confident in themselves when everyone is on the same page.
Yeah. Yep. And how about you, Audrey? You want to add anything?
Yeah, I think you do definitely see the parents step into their own and feel comfortable in their role as parents. Our birth parent would call me and just say, I don't think I can do this. I don't know how to, I'm not a good parent because of this situation. And we were able to really, work with them and get their confidence up. And, and now it's like they're a completely different person with their confidence in their parenting.
That's great. We all know change is really hard, right? And so to have people who are on the sides really supporting you and encouraging you can make all the difference. Because these parents, when their kids are taken into care, they have to make some really drastic changes in a very short time. And it's hard work. Yeah. So to feel your belief in them, I'm sure makes a big difference. Audrey, what difference has it made for you in your role as a resource caregiver?
I think it made it a little bit easier. So we were first-time caregivers, and be able to build that relationship. We could lean on each other when it came to raising their child. Then also when they went to visits, I knew the child was safe and comfortable, and I could relax a little bit, especially on those overnight visits. And then after reunification, it made that heartbreak a little bit easier. It's always heartbreaking, but we're still very, very active in our foster child's life, pick her up from daycare and have play dates. So it really helped make that transition so much easier.
Great. Yeah, so it's not like this abrupt cutoff for either side, yeah, which again can make such a difference. Joe, how has it made a difference for you as a resource caregiver?
It's made a big difference. Even we had one sibling group, and then they ended up reunifying, like 4 years ago. And to this day, they're still in contact. And then by coincidence, their first cousins ended up going in foster care, and they like specifically requested that they come to my home because they knew what a difference it made for them. And I let the parents know that, especially the teenagers, they're going to tell their parents more stuff than they're going to tell me. So there's been a couple incidences where like maybe they were telling me they were going to go sleep over at friend A's house, but actually they had other plans. So the parent called me up, say, hey, maybe cut the plans for that sleepover because this is actually what's going on. And so, those types of things is huge. And then the kids see that we're all on the same team, know that they're supported and loved. And it ends up being better outcomes for the children as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great example, and probably not how many of us think about. Oh yeah, birth parents would actually, contribute to the overall care of their children, even when they're separated. Yeah. So, Jasmine, I'm just curious, what difference do you see that it's made in the children when you are in contact with their parents and collaborating with them?
The kids become more comfortable and confident. They learn to advocate for themselves, so they can say how they're feeling, what they do, what they don't want to do. If they had a good visit, they feel comfortable enough to come and tell me, oh my God, I did this with mom or dad today. Vice versa, if we're doing something fun at the visit, they're comfortable and confident enough to say, oh my gosh, I did this with Auntie Jazz and so, so they don't feel like they have to choose sides.
Great. Lovely. Lovely. So again, we're going to hear, we're going to break away to another video, and we're going to hear from Judge Hall, the youth and parents and providers to hear how, what they have to say about having that ongoing contact and what it means to them.
Cases in which the resource caregiver and birth parent communicate effectively and work together often go through the process much smoother. The children are happier and mentally healthier. Also, the bond between birth parent and child is not as negatively affected. In these situations, there's often an increase in visitation time, and visitation often occur outside of a visitation center, which is a more natural environment. Finally, when it does come time to transition back to the birth parent, the child benefits from an easier transition.
Well, I've had situations where a child may have some feelings about something during the visits with their parents, and they talk to the resource caregiver about it, and the resource caregiver encourages them to talk to their parents. And so it's helped the child to be able to express their feelings, to learn how to express their feelings and advocate for themselves, and to share how they feel verbally instead of acting it out in their behavior.
What really helped me in my relationship with my resource caregiver and building that trust and really feeling comfortable with her having my baby was she really was in tune, and I could tell that it was just very important for her to see that my child and I still had our bond. That was the most important thing to her, was to make sure that I still had that bonding with my child. It was very important to her and to me.
It's good for the kids to know that they can also see the dad when, like, or mother, whoever, talking with the caregiver or like having a meeting, that they don't have to run away or speak out just to see them. And it's also one goal to get the kids back, so one person, one goal can take a while, but if it's two people and one goal, then it's gonna get done faster.
You know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, meeting up with the parents. You know, although whatever background they had, don't judge them on it. You know, it's a growth process. No one is perfect. So I just say, you know, it's gonna be healthy for the kid when you have that positive impact in that kid's life, knowing that he still has a parent that's willing to work to get him back, instead of just, you know, being in the system alone. Because when you're in there, you have a lot of thoughts and a lot of things you battle mentally. And you know, when you have someone you love or someone that means that much to you, you know, it's gonna subside those bad thoughts and, you know, that bad feeling of, you know, I should do this, you know, because I don't like it here, or I should do this because I don't have my parent with me. So, you know, it'll be great for the kid mentally and emotionally.
Transformation from going with your family to a foster parent isn't always the easiest. It might not be the best situation, but having your dad there, someone or your parents knowing you, they love you, having them around, you still feel that love from a parent that no other person in this world could give you, because it's just different. So having the caregivers working on the same team as your parent, and then you just become an unstoppable force. Unification is guaranteed to happen.
Everything would be better. I think it would be really good for everybody to see, like, both caregivers, parents getting along, and even to, like, weaving the parents into their lives, because the goal is one day they'll all be reunited, and if the caregivers can weave the parents into their lives when they finally get together and live together, it won't be brand new. Like, say somebody was in foster care for like 5 years, they're not just gonna move in with their parents and like not know anything about them. And like, if they had like extra visitations and comfortable visitations, like it'll be like they've been together throughout the whole thing.
It make the kid feel more comfortable knowing that his caregiver and their birth parents are working together to make them feel safe and happy and to get reunited. So I'll say give it a shot. Second chances won't hurt.
Be confident, because it's good for them and good for the parent and good for their child, and because they're working together as two.
again, just the voices of the birth parents and kids. Yeah, it's really touching, especially, you know, when the one boy said, you know, when you know the love of your parent, it's like to not have that ongoing contact, it seems like it would feel so rejecting to the kids too. Yeah. So it's really reassuring to them that this isn't about their parents rejecting them. It's that their parents need help. Yeah. And from all that I've heard you say today too, it's all about really giving the parents that strong message that you want them to get help. You want to be there to help support them. Yeah. So in this last segment, we're going to talk about, I'm wondering if you can share like one wonderful or impactful moment that you've had with a birth parent, you know, where it just really stands out for you. Like you've seen, like this is a moment where something really shifted or this made a big difference to them. So I'm wondering, you know, Audrey, would you like to start with that?
Sure. Shortly before we got our place and I found out I was pregnant. So when it was time to start announcing and telling people, I was able to share that with the birth parent, with the birth mom, and it really brought us together. She could see that I wasn't trying to steal her child. I was having one of my own, and she was able to share memories of being pregnant and, you know, having her child, and we were able to really bond together as moms. So it really was this huge shift at that time. And so it was great that we could share it. Our daughters, our friends, her mom calls our sisters, and, you know, we're all kind of one big family now, which is really nice.
That's very sweet. And it's like you're real people to each other again, yeah, which is lovely.
Yeah.
How about you, Joe? Do you have a story to tell?
Yeah, for the two little ones, the mom and I get along really well, and even to the point where she showed up. We did the guardian. They ended up going guardianship with us, and mom was there and present and was supportive of it, and the kids all love it and stuff. And the store down the road, the mom's good friend works there, and so just by chance, I was over there buying stuff. Hey, are you so and so's foster parent? Yeah. Oh my God. The mom just says so many good things about you and said how she's improved your life and how she, when you hear it from third person like that, it's genuine. And so it's just kind of like super unexpected and super cool for the supportive relationship to go on. And even, years after the guardianship, we're all still in each other's lives.
Lovely. Lovely. And how about you, Jasmine?
I think about, and my first infant, she has been placed in 3 different places, but each time she went, we were able to keep in contact. And she is going to be 4 years old soon, so we still get to see her. But I also just recently, we had our second infant. We had for 18 months and then was reunified. We did not see him for a year. But recently, like maybe 3 weeks ago, a parent reached out and needed help. And so it was touching to think that even after all this time of no contact, we were one of the first people she thought of to support her.
That is very touching. It's lovely. And how about you, Lori?
I think what a lot of the times when what I usually do is when the kids are sleeping, I watch them sleep, and it seems the trust that the parents had built with myself, they're moving to where they should have been prior to their child coming to me. And I think that they know after a while, in order to get their children back, they have to try and push for this goal. So in the reunification process, we see a lot of that happening. And that's what makes myself proud. And the children talk a lot about it, which kind of builds the family pushing back together again.
Yeah. I hear that's when it feels really gratifying. Yeah. Like when you
Yeah.
can see that change. Yep.
Yes, they speak about that with each other on the next meeting when they get together, and dad is showing them, look at this. I went back to drawing and I drew this for you, and the child is like, oh, and then they want to put it up on a wall in the room. It's things like that that they can look at. Oh, my dad drew that. He drew that for me.
Lovely. Lovely. We just have 3 minutes left for this segment. And so I'm wondering if all of you could say like words of appreciation or encouragement to other resource caregivers who might be thinking about, collaborating with parents. Lori, why don't you start?
I would actually encourage them to do so, because there's no other reward in it. I love my job and I love doing what I do, and it's the children that we're here for. And I love that.
Thank you. And how about you, Audrey?
First, appreciation to all resource caregivers, and they're making such a big difference in not only the children's lives, but the families' lives. And when you heal that family structure, then you're helping heal communities. So it really has such a far-reaching impact. So that's would be also my word of encouragement of why you should become a resource caregiver and how gratifying it can be.
Thank you. Thank you. And how about you, Jasmine?
Kudos to all the RCGs. Practice self-care because it is draining all the way around. In the beginning, I was very closed off and I wasn't as involved as I am now. But the more involved I was as an RCG helped me to, instead of pointing fingers and be like, what's wrong with you to the parents, helped me to sympathize and try to be more strength-based, as in kind of like what happened to you that makes you with decisions for certain things. So I would say full force, do it well, and hopefully the whole end result, everyone still can have contact and education.
So wonderful words of encouragement, Jasmine. Thank you. And how about you, Joe?
Yeah, same thing. Anybody who's done it, and it's one of the things you can do in your life and know you don't regret it. Giving a child a safe place to stay for the night, or years, depending on how it goes, something that is impactful not only for that child but generationally. So I know sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm worried about getting attached." So what I tell people is, get excited about getting attached. It's the best thing. Fulfilling, good for the child, good for their parents, and good for you. Sometimes the other day I ran into like a coworker and I was like, this is my kids, and they said, oh, you're so lucky to be in Joe's. And I stopped them. I said, no, I'm the lucky one. It's the biggest blessing to my life. I'm really proud to be a part of, and I would encourage everyone, if you're gonna do it for the right reasons.
Thank you. And thank you all. I mean, your words of wisdom and experience and how much you spoke from your heart really has been very touching today. So we're going to show one more video where we're going to hear from parents and the youth and workers again. And then Pat's going to wind up, and then we're going to have one final short video. So this will be the end of our section, but thank you all very, very much. You've been wonderful. And we'll turn it over to this video now. Aloha.
Resource caregivers are a really integral part of the team in helping the kids transition home or transition to permanency. It helps the kids feel like everything's going to be okay when they see that the parents and the resource caregivers talk to each other and trust each other. I've also seen resource caregivers be role models and mentors to the parents, which has been so helpful in reunification and in permanency.
If it becomes this, like, partnerships between biological parents and foster parents, the communication and the family unity would be so much stronger. There are good foster homes, and even as a counselor working, I said, there are, because everybody has these, stigmas of, oh, what's happen to my child in these foster homes? Because we're fear, that's our babies, you know what I mean? And so, knowing the foster parents is And knowing our kids are safe alleviates a lot of that pressure inside of us to move on with what we gotta do.
I don't know one birth parent that doesn't love their kid. They might choose to do certain things that might have took them out, but you know, I think everybody deserves a second chance, you know. And when given that chance, you never know, that might be the deciding factor of reuniting a family together. What more could you ask for a person that's taking care of somebody else's kids is to be able to reunite them with their birth parents?
You guys are in it to help. If you guys are in it because you care, then I'm just asking you to please go all in for us, because we need you. You're here in our life and you're helping us with our child, and we need to know you. It's very important.
I'd just like to remind you that you have the ability to create or help create an intact family for the children that we serve. And if you can be a part of that, it's totally gratifying. And I'm sure that the children will always be thankful.
And my research care, they you know, before I was failing. I wasn't even the smartest kid. They put me in school. She tutored me personally. I learned how to play the piano. You know, she taught me things that I never thought I'd do. You know, I was exquisite at playing piano, honestly. So, you know, although it is a tough thing, like, to go through, resource caregivers, they play one of the biggest roles in the reunification of, you know, my family and just other families out there too. You know, they ain't just somebody, a stranger. You know, they're somebody that means something to you. You know, the communication and the relationship between the caregivers and their parents do, you know, it just makes everything more better. And it's gonna make them wanna abide by your rules and not just be going out, you know, acting crazy because they don't like you. They're gonna like you if, you know, they will, because, you know, if you see that they're working with your parents, they're gonna see, hey, you want the best of me, so I'm gonna give them the best of me.
For the resource caregivers, I have to applaud you guys for doing what you guys do. I mean, you guys taking kids that you've never met before. You don't know what kind of kids they are. You don't know if they're happy, loving kids, sad kids, if they're dangerous kids. You don't know how their parents are, what kind of background they have. But what you do know is that this kid needs help and that you're taking them in underneath your roof. And that leap of faith, that chance you're taking is tremendous risk, but probably one of the biggest rewards, especially when you see them reunified, which is what most caregivers want for their kids. And for all the caregivers out there, just keep doing what you're doing, even when it gets tough. I know it's not the easiest, but try and talk to the parents, get to know them. I'm sure a lot of these parents that are fighting for their kids are willing to do what's best for the kids and themselves if you was to show them how much you care for them and the kids as well. So, thank you guys. That's what I gotta say.
I appreciate the caregivers for taking in the child that, of course, they don't know, but they also treat them like their own kids. They buy them new clothes, school supplies, also toys, all kind of stuff. They also treat them like their kid, or like treat them like their family. And for my caregivers, they would always treat us like we were family. They wouldn't just like push us away, or like they would be like, oh yeah, that's not my kid, I'm not gonna take care of them. I appreciate all the caregivers, like what they do for the children.
Thank you to all the resource caregivers. It's really good to know, like, you can struggle with somebody, and then when you finally reach your goal, it just makes the journey seem like untouchable. Like, it makes when you finally accomplish the goal, it just makes it way better that, you know, you had rough patches, you had ups and downs, but like you won't see the bad anymore. You'll see all the good and all the different perspectives. So thank you so much for giving me experiences that I never thought I'd have, and just making those times a little bit more easier when things were getting low and rough.
Well, mahalo everyone for joining in today. And we're going to end with a few words from Eladine Olivao, Child Welfare Services Branch Administrator. And after she talks, We will post our contact information if you have any questions or comments. Also, we have recorded this webinar and you can email us a request for that as well. So that recording should be available for the public within a week or two. So once again, mahalo for being here today and for all you do.
Aloha. Congratulations to our families that have been reunified and are being recognized for this, the National Reunification Month. We are so proud of the work that you have done. Lokahi, which means many hands working together. We like to acknowledge all those that have been instrumental in making this happen. Our service providers, our community partners, and most of all, those families that work so hard. We acknowledge you and we thank you. Mahalo.